Hi guys, Paintgirlee here. Hey, listen, I'm working on a journal and I want to include these old pages from an of Green Gables book. And it was stitched together, but as you can see, the pages are quite tattered and worn, which I think will look great in my journal. But to be able to stitch them into my signature, I need it to be a little more stable. Now, there's probably a professional way to do this. I didn't Google that. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to deal with this. I've done this in another journal that I worked on. Worked okay for me, so I'm going to do it again. In my stash, I have some cloth tape. And this works with the coloring of the book. It's all in pinks. And so I'm going to tape down a piece of this cloth tape down the center. I'm going to add additional glue, but first I'm going to ink the top side of that because the pages are so old and distressed. I want my tape to kind of mimic that. So I'm just using some of Tim Holtz distress ink, and this one is called Vintage Photo. You know, I've said this before, it never fails. As soon as I turn on my camera, the dog barks. And this kind of has a yellowy hue background, so it's not really coming up that great as far as the inking, but it'll take a little bit of that out. Okay. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of my glue, and I'm just going to run a little bead of glue close to the center seam there. Now the tape does have its own glue backing, but it's old, and a lot of times the tape or the washi tape that you might use doesn't have the stick that you might need for a certain project. So I just try to reinforce that so that it adheres very well. Now I don't want to go out too far because I don't want to get a lot of extra glue squishing out the side of my book. Now the tricky part is trying to get it lined up where you want it. And the signature is going to be stitched, your stitches are going to be through this, so you're not really even going to see that much of it. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. See, it's a little wet there. The page is kind of disintegrating. You could really rub this out, I guess. I don't know that it's all that necessary, but some people get lumps. I don't usually get too many lumps. All right, now I'm going to try to line this up right on top of my other piece of tape. And that should set up in a few minutes. And then I'll just take my scissors and trim off that extra. I should be able to fold that where the pages were initially creased. And then I can bring it to my book. And I think I had it right here. So that'll fit in like that. And then when I go to stitch it in, that glue certainly will have dried, and it'll give me something to anchor my stitches in, and my pages won't disintegrate and pull out. Okay, that's it. That's my tip for tonight. See you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.